Joining us now to discuss Tuesday's election results, Deputy Communications Director for the Republican National Committee, Kirsten Kukowski. Kirsten, it's great to have you back on America's Forum.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, as always is the case, those in the media try to simplify things. They find a narrative, quote, establishment versus Tea Party, establishment with the upper hand. But obviously, every race has a quality and a character all its own. At the Republican National Committee, you guys sit back and watch what happens in the primaries. So as you look at these 6 states, what's the morning after like at the Republican National Committee in terms of the nomination process in these 6 places?
Well, we're just happy that we're going to be hitting Democrats now. That's what we kind of have been doing in each of these states and what we're going to continue to do. And as each of these primaries is done on our side, it obviously frees everybody up to all be on the same page and start going after the Democrats. And to be honest with you, whether it be Nunn in Georgia or Lundergan Grimes in Kentucky, they're giving us a lot to work with. I think, just a couple of days ago, actually, and this is very topical with what is happening here in D.C. today, Nunn actually said she was going to defer to the president on the VA scandal. Lundergan Grimes hasn't really said anything about the VA scandal. So these are opportunities that we're going to be having now and that we're starting today, really hitting the ground running, starting to ask these Democrats the questions that, frankly, the voters need to hear what their answers are.
So, Kirsten, sounds to me like the way this translates is that you happen to mention Kentucky and Georgia, states where Republicans have enjoyed dominance, especially in legislative elections or in Senate elections here. Mitch McConnell is in a situation where, yes, he had the money, the prestige, he knocked off the Tea Party challenger, but the polling thus far in the bluegrass state has Lundergan Grimes running even, if not ahead, of the Senate Republican leader. So obviously the scrutiny is going to come there. I find it also interesting in Georgia with Michelle Nunn, the daughter of former Democrat Senator Sam Nunn, now the Democratic nominee. You're pointing out the linkage to President Obama. Of those 2 races, where Kentucky, I know that we can go back in history and find eras of Democratic dominance in electoral battles, but Kentucky really seems to be a challenge. Is this going to be an uphill battle for Mitch McConnell?
You know what? I think we saw this with Harry Reid a couple of years ago. Obviously, anytime that you are in leadership, the other party wants to try and use that opportunity to create something, to create news, especially in a year where the Democrats, their backs are really up against the wall. So I think that Mitch McConnell is going to run a great campaign, and there's a lot of material on Lundergan Grimes. She just isn't polished. She isn't poised. She has not figured out how to answer a lot of questions, and I think that's going to be a problem for her. You bring up Obama. The president is going to be a problem both in Kentucky and in Georgia. Neither of these candidates for the Democrats have figured out, are they with Obama? Are they against Obama? How are they going to message him? How are they going to message the health care law? They've both been running from all of that. They've both been running from Keystone. I think that this year we have a lot of issues that are on our side, and the Democrats are really, they're frankly struggling. So I think that while Senator McConnell was in a primary for all of these months, and that's the polling that we now have to go on, which is McConnell versus Lundergan Grimes. I think that let's give it some time and let's see how this shakes out. But I think he's going to be running a great campaign.
Way out in Oregon, you have the pediatric neurosurgeon, Dr. Monica Webbie, winning that race. And obviously the DNC is very concerned because reports in the Oregon media about Dr. Webbie and her the way her marriage ended in divorce and then a subsequent relationship, getting out police reports. What's the deal out there? The Democrats must be incredibly worried about Dr. Webbie becoming the nominee of the party.
They're very, very concerned. Anytime we can add another state onto the map like Oregon, we're sitting very, very nicely. And every time the Democrats have to spend money or time or any kind of resources on Monica Webbie, makes it a lot easier for us in states like Arkansas, states like North Carolina, where the Democrats are also in trouble. So whether it be Georgia, where now the Democrats are going to be spending money on none, or whether it be in Oregon, where they're going to be spending money, obviously trying to hold that seat. I think the moral of the story here is the map is very large for us. We have a lot of opportunities. The Democrats are defending a lot of ground here, and we feel pretty good about that, about the environment, but also the issues that we have on our side right now.
One more Senate race, and then we'll turn to the House, and that's in Arkansas, where the incumbent Democratic Senator Pryor, in head-to-head polling, still holds about, a 10-point lead over Tom Cotton. Cotton, a first-term Republican congressman, a war veteran, and despite what many of us thought would be the ultimate in verbal miscues from Senator Pryor, talking about entitlement, mindful of the fact that his dad preceded him in the U.S. Senate, who's really entitled or has a sense of entitlement, that's failed to translate. What happens now that Tom Cotton is the official nominee of the Republican Party in the Razorback state? How do resources rally to see him move to the Senate and unseat Senator Pryor?
Well, I think it's pretty clear by the way that the Democrats are acting that they believe very strongly that Senator Pryor is in much more danger than the polling right now shows. I think that the senator is going to have to do a lot of work, and he's going to be in a tough spot on a lot of issues, mainly Obamacare, a lot of energy issues down there. And so, I think that give it some time. It's still early. We're hitting the ground running. We've been in Arkansas for, many months now, and we're going to keep talking to voters and getting out there. Senator Pryor does have that institutional name ID going for him, and that's something we're going to battle. But it's going to be a close race. Tom Cotton is a great candidate, and I think we feel pretty good about how all of our chances across the board, but especially in Arkansas, in Louisiana, in North Carolina, in Alaska, where we need to pick up a few of those seats.
And let's turn now to the House of Representatives, my old stomping grounds. The primary in Pennsylvania last night on the Democrat side, I guess we wanted to subtitle it, it would be In-Laws and the Midterms. Marjorie Margolis, who went to Congress as Marjorie Margolis Mezvinsky, had the full backing of the Clinton political machine in her Pennsylvania House race, but it did not work out for her in the race for the Democrat nomination. So instead of going back to Congress, I guess she can concentrate on the pending delivery of her grandchild.
Very true. It was not a very good evening last night for the Clintons. This was actually the only political fundraiser that Hillary Clinton has actually done in 2014 for any 2014 candidate thus far. And I think that says a lot. I think it says a lot about the vulnerabilities that the Clintons have, and about the political environment right now. And it was not a close election, and she definitely did have the support of both Bill and Hillary Clinton and their money.
Cycling back to the status of the Republican Party and the relationship with what we've come to call the Tea Party, the populist conservative movement. Are you seeing signs now of a reconciliation in the wake of many of these primaries? We've got about a minute and a half left. What's your take on what is transpiring across the country post-primary for the Republican Party?
Well, I think that we're all, looking at my clips coming to my inbox last night, it looks like people are getting on board with, who our Republican primary voters have elected in these states. And I think that's a really good sign. And I think we're all going to be one big team. I think that it's good that we're having these conversations right now. We're going to continue here at the RNC to do what we can on the ground to bring all of these Republican voters, all conservative voters, out, and so that we're making sure that we have high turnout in November. And that's the most important thing. And I think that we feel pretty good about the signs that we've been seeing after each of these primary nights lately.
Kirsten Kukowski, we thank you so very much for your time and your take from the Republican National Committee on this Super Tuesday in the midterms. We look forward to visiting with you again.
Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
Yes, indeed. Now, the question.